A very good morning, children. Welcome back to the English online class. I hope that you all are staying safe and healthy at your home. Children, in today's online class, we are going to start with a new poem, and the name of the poem is O Captain, My Captain, which is written by Walt Whitman in 1865. This poem consists of three stanzas. It was first published in his work Leaves of Grass. It is a symbolic poem in which Captain refers to Abraham Lincoln and the ship refers to the USA, that is the United States of America. The poem describes the victory of the Union after the end of the Civil War and also the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. So children, now let us begin with the poem and its explanation. First, I will recite the poem stanza wise, as I have told you that there are three stanzas in the poem. So first I will recite the first stanza and then explain the explanation of that stanza to you. So here we go with the first stanza. O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wreck. The prize we shout is won. The port is near. The bell I hear. The people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But, O heart, 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 O the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. So in the first stanza, Whitman calls upon the captain, that is Abraham Lincoln, of the ship, that is USA. The ship is here the USA and captain is Abraham Lincoln. That fearful trip, that is the dreadful Civil War, has come to an end. The people have won the victory at last, which they quested for, that is the victory of the Union. So, children, the poet tells the captain that port, that is their home, is very near, and now he can hear the sound of temple bells and the cries of the enthusiastic people who are eagerly waiting for him. The enthusiasm increases as the ship reaches near the port. Keel has been thrown off the ship so as to keep ship stable. Keel is the bottom side of the ship. So in the next line, this enthusiasm is replaced by gloom. The captain is dead now and blood is oozing from his body. This makes the poet exclaim, O heart, heart, heart. The captain, who was supposed to be praised by the people for his peerless bravery, is now lifeless and motionless. So this was the explanation of the first stanza. Now let us move towards the second stanza of this poem. O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung. For you the bugle trills. For you bouquets and ribbon wreaths. For you the shores are crowding. For you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream that on the deck you have fallen cold and dead. So, in the second stanza, children, the poet Walt Whitman tries to talk to the captain, who he knows well is dead. And who is dead? That is Abraham Lincoln, to whom he considered as captain. This technique of talking to the dead is called apostrophe. The poet asks the captain to rise up, as for him bells are being rung, flags are being hoisted, musical instruments are being rung, flowers are being curled, etc. The people are eagerly waiting for his arrival, but he is dead now. It should be noted that the captain is dead now, and hence these ceremonies are of his funeral. The poet goes in reminiscence and tries to consider this death to be fancy, but at last he has to believe that captain is dead. Poet calls him father because for him Abraham Lincoln is not just a military leader but the father of the nation, and laments over his loss. Now children, let us move towards the last and the third stanza of this poem. That is here, my captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound. Its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck. My captain lies fallen cold and dead. Children, in the third stanza, we find the duality of emotion. Whitman experiences the euphoria of their victory, but at the same time laments, means being sad over the death of his captain Abraham Lincoln, which is a big loss for the nation. The poet says that now the captain is dead, his lips are pale, he can neither feel the arms of the poet nor his heart is beating. It is such a time when the ship has arrived at its destination. The fearful trip, that is the horrors of the Civil War, is over now, and there is relief among the people. People are rejoicing, but the poet is mourning over the death of Lincoln. The deck here refers to the cemetery of Lincoln. Poet moving around this place laments over his death. Hence, the poem ends with both victories as well as loss. So children, this was the explanation of the third stanza. So I hope that you have understood the explanation of all the three stanzas. Now let us move towards the literary devices that is used in the poem O Captain, My Captain. So children, first talk about the literary devices that serve as a tool to project hidden meaning in the text. With the help of literary devices, the author equip their simple text with powerful impacts on their reader. So that is why the literary devices are very important in the literature as well as in the poem. So Walt Whitman too has enriched this poem using following literary devices that we will come to know now. The first one is metaphor. So children, there are three extended metaphors in the poem. The first extended metaphor is captain, which is used in the first line that runs throughout the poem. Here captain represents Abraham Lincoln. So that is why it is called a metaphor, because captain here represents Abraham Lincoln. So who loses his life in the battle? The second metaphor is the voyage, which represents the Civil War. The journey of the voyage is full of tests and trials. But now the ship is nearing the port, represents the timeline of the Civil War. The third metaphor is ship, which represents the United States of America, that is USA, that has undergone the Civil War. So the next literary device that was used in the poem is personification. So children, here again if you see that personification, Walt Whitman has used personification to give human qualities to lifeless objects. He has personified the walk of the speaker as a mournful tread because he cannot live without his captain. He has also personified shores in line 21, where it is stated, "Exult, O shores," as if the shores are humans and they are going to blow trumpets of victory. The next literary device that was used in the poem is imagery. Imagery appeals to the five senses of the readers. The poet has used visual imagery such as cold and dead, lips are pale and still, bleeding drops of red, and mournful dread. Whitman's choice of powerful words has made the reader visualize the death of the captain. Now the fourth literary device that is used in the poem is apostrophe. An apostrophe is a device used to call somebody or something from afar. Here the poet has used an apostrophe to call his dead captain. The phrase, "O Captain, my Captain," expresses love and attachment of the speaker with his captain. The fifth literary device that is used in the poem is Eletration. Eletration is the repetition of the same consonant sounds in the same lines of the poetry, such as the use of F in flag is flung and the sound of S in safe and sound. The sixth literary device that is used in the poem is consonants. It is the repetition of consonant sounds such as G sound in flag is flung. The seventh literary device that is used in the poem is assonance. Children, an assonance is a repetition of the vowel sounds in the same line, such as the sounds of I in ship and trip. So these were the literary devices that were used in the poem beautifully by the poet to describe his feeling the towards his captain, that is Abraham Lincoln, and his love towards Abraham Lincoln and also towards his nation. Now let us have a look on the summary of this poem. Children, the poem is an elegy to the speaker's recently deceased captain, at once celebrating the safe and successful return of their ship and mourning the loss of its great leader. In the first stanza, the speaker expresses his relief that the ship has reached its home port at last and describes hearing people cheering. So, now let us move towards the theme of the poem. So, children, the theme of this poem is that sometimes to obtain something great, sacrifices have to be made. For instance, the citizens and soldiers have finally reached their goal and ended the war. But they lost a great leader and president shortly after. Whitman wrote about this in Memorandum of Abraham Lincoln, and to caution the public about trying to hurry the process in which to obtain large goals, since sacrifices could be involved with victory. He was trying to tell us that even though we accomplished our goal and won the war, we lost one of our country's greatest presidents, and that triumph is sometimes overshadowed by despair. The poem comprises sentiments of the speaker at the demise of his captain. The speaker admires his captain for the victory they have won together. The major theme that runs throughout the poem is the death of Abraham Lincoln at the end of the Civil War, which deprived the United States of America of their great president. Each stanza gives us a clue about the war. Although the fearful trip ends, bells ring, and the captain is no more to enjoy the victory. So, children, this was the poem O Captain, My Captain, that was written by Walt Whitman. I hope that you all have understood it. Now, children, you have to read the poem thoroughly, go through each and every word and underline the difficult words and write with the pencil on the book only the meaning of that word, and you can take help of the dictionary to find the meaning of those words. Thank you.